changes.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is long overdue. Alex is just hanging out behind me. So if you hear noises, it's probably him. So today's video is going to be finally an update on nursing and my job and being off orientation. So yeah, let's just jump right into that. So I have been off orientation for technically 20 days. Like, I worked 2 weekends basically. So my first shift off orientation, I was so anxious. Sleeping before was rough. I didn't get a lot of sleep because I was just nervous, but also I was super excited because like being off orientation was exciting and something new and all that fun stuff. But my first shift actually was like probably the best first shift that like I could have had. So I started my shift off with 1 couplet, so 1 mom, 1 baby. I had room for 2 admissions. That was 4. I had room for 2 admissions, so like started with 2 patients, ended up with potentially 6. So I was expecting an admission, so I started at 7 p.m. and I was expecting an admission around 10ish. So it worked out really nicely that I had 1 couplet to start, then I had 2 couplets, and then around 3 a.m. I got another couplet. So it was like a really nice transition into full-on 3 couplets craziness. It's actually funny though because the charge nurse who assigned that to me didn't know that it was my first night off orientation, and I like kind of thanked her after. I was like, thanks for like giving me the setup to like gradually increase. And she was like, oh my god, I had no idea like it was your first shift off orientation. And yeah, so I'm definitely gonna like, I don't know if it's always possible for that to happen to other new grads, but I feel like it was a great start off to my shift. So my first few days off orientation, I worked Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So throughout that weekend, I was able to keep some of my patients. Obviously, they discharged throughout that, and then I was able to admit some as well. But overall, it went really smoothly, and I was like very shocked at how like well it went. So yeah, that was my first little chunk of shifts off orientation. Fast forward to my next few shifts, I worked, I think it was a Wednesday and Thursday after that. Those shifts were definitely a lot more difficult. I had a baby that was super duper spitty and gaggy from just being born. Like, it's really common for babies to have like a lot of extra mucus and stuff in their stomachs and lungs and stuff that they don't get out right away when they're born. And so obviously we're supposed to be the ones who are like calm and like teaching the parents like, hey, this might happen, this is what you do, if you're worried, call us in, whatnot. So I'm there for about 2 hours, and one of my patients called out and was like, oh my gosh, my baby is choking, and I was like, I don't know what to do. So another nurse came in with me, obviously, because they knew I was newly fresh off orientation. So basically the baby was just choking on their like spit, mucusy stuff. Best thing you can do if you don't know is just kind of tip them upright, pat them on the back, take a little bulb syringe onto the sides of their mouths if there's like a lot of extra stuff in there. But this went like on all shift, like the whole night. And the mom was super worried about her not realizing that the baby was choking while they were sleeping. So she wanted me to take the baby into the nursery for a few hours just so she could get some sleep. I did that. During that time, the baby was still super duper duper spitty and gaggy, and I was almost getting a little worried. I was like, do we need to page the resident about this situation? So I'm pretty sure I looked back on my Fitbit during this time and my heart rate was like in like the 120s for like these 3 hours, just because I was so anxious that like something was wrong and I was missing it and like I was gonna like miss something. But everyone just kept kind of reassuring me like, hey, this happens. Pulse ox was fine, so it's not much we can do besides just kind of support the baby. So that was Wednesday. Then Thursday, I had the same feeling back. The kiddo was much better, a little less spitty. But then I had a little baby that was less than 37 weeks, which we do car seat tests for them. So my car seat test, basically what they do is they sit in their car seat. We have them hooked up to a heart rate monitor and oxygen monitor, and they have to sit in their car seat for 90 minutes at the proper angle and all that. And they can't, there's like parameters, I don't remember specifically what they are, that we set onto the machine. If they dip below a certain heart rate for a certain amount of time, if they're apneic for a certain amount of time, we transfer them into a car bed, which is where they're just laying flat, and finish the test there. But it was only the second car seat test that I'd ever done, and it was the first one on my own, and the baby kept desatting a little bit but would recover. So like if they're able to recover within a certain amount of time, we continue the test. But every time it would like start beeping, I would just get super anxious, and again my heart rate was very elevated for a majority of that shift as well. So those were that was like my first full week off orientation. It started out really well, ended very anxiously. I was definitely ready for a super long weekend after that Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, and since then, I've only been back on postpartum for an 8-hour shift. This weekend, I've actually been down on antepartum, which I don't know if I've actually fully talked about on here. So we float to antepartum, labor and delivery and postpartum staff the antepartum unit. There's not a specific staffing group that go there. So antepartum is where all of our like high-risk pregnancies go before they're ready to deliver. If people rupture early, they usually stay there for the rest of their pregnancy. Preeclamptic, some people are only there for a few days if they have bleeding or whatnot. There's so many different reasons that people come down to the antepartum unit. So this past Thursday, I was down there for my first 4 hours of the shift, and then they needed me to go up to postpartum, so I was there for the last half of the shift. But then all day Friday and all day Saturday night, I was on antepartum, which was interesting because it's a lot more med-surgy than I'm used to. So I definitely like that I'm able to kind of keep up on my skills there, like doing IV medications, which we really don't do much of on postpartum, and EFM and DOP toning the moms. But majority of the nighttime shift is them trying to rest and sleep and recover or keep baby in there as long as possible. So it was low-key kind of boring, but luckily, obviously, postpartum nurses are never down there alone. In case something like emergently happens, we have to have a labor nurse down there who can take them to C-section or whatever if something were to happen. So that's like the majority of the updates. I feel like I'm starting to get a hang of what I need to do for each shift. I don't know if I'm back on antepartum or postpartum tonight, but either way, I feel more and more competent in my abilities as a new grad. And obviously my co-workers have been amazing. They know that I'm new, they know that it's my first job, they know that I'm recently off orientation, so they're always asking if I need help with anything. And that's always super reassuring and super nice to have. I need more coffee. So yeah, I am about to head out to my next shift pretty shortly. I am going to do a video about like what I do throughout a shift, like start to finish. I'm also gonna show you guys what I use for my like brain sheets for throughout the shift as well, because I feel like that's helpful to see. Yeah, but for now, I think that this is the end of my orientation update. It's not even an orientation update, it's like job update. I don't even know. I don't know. Yeah, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more videos about nursing and postpartum and babies and life with me and this guy. We have some wedding stuff coming up soon, videos coming out, so that will be fun. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.